to the background.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that worked, but I can't see us coming up
I don't
yet.
think it did.
It did. It did, so we are streaming. Oh, there we go.
Mm.
So any moment now we'll actually be...
Get some. We'll get some advertising any minute now. Oh, here we go.
We'll have our 1 minute thing starting. I'll just keep eating my cookie and... At Media Design School, it's the same logo. Those guys were at GDC last year, I think.
They were. Oh look, we're actually happening.
I wonder how GDC is going this year. Can't believe they went ahead without us.
Yeah, that was just wrong, wasn't it?
All right, it's 1 o'clock, so welcome along, everybody. Whoever everybody is. So I'm Brook. This is Margaret and Sergi. I was looking on the screen, nearly pointed you out as Sergi and Margaret. Margaret and Sergi. We're from Stickmen Media, and today we're actually talking about the UV mapping of Cross-Eyed Joe, one of our zombie characters from After the Light, the zombie survival game that we're streaming here on Twitch, or the development of it that we're streaming here on Twitch.
We are indeed actually talking about it.
We are talking about it.
Literally talking about it.
Right at this moment, in fact, talking about it.
Literally.
So, let's start the movie on the background there, and throw it to Sergi. What are we watching?
Yeah.
Better be good.
No.
Wrong answer.
Yeah. Well, what we are watching now is basically the beginning of the UV layout.
Mm-hmm.
All the UVs are already made in this stage. But what we are doing here is, for example, I take the head. We can see the UVs of the head.
Yep. So you've unwrapped the head onto
Yes.
a 2D surface. Yeah.
Exactly. So what I'll do in this phase is just making just the layout. I start adding all the pieces all together in a single space. That's the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I use this texture so I can see the texel resolution of the surface. It's basically how big or small the things look. If we see the numbers small, this means that this will have more texture resolution. If we see big numbers, then it's the opposite. It's taking less space in the UV.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, we can see more or less the idea in there. For example, the ears, as I said in the previous video, all the parts uses a single texture, 2K texture for each part. In this process, what I do is optimize all this and just decide how many materials we will have for the final model and what UVs are in each material, or what parts of that model are in
So when you shrunk the ear there, we saw the numbers go bigger on the actual
Yes.
model.
Yes, that's because I'm changing the scale of the UVs, as for example in that one.
Yeah.
And I see the numbers and colors help me to know exactly how's the resolution working for that particular piece.
But that's really a judgment call too, how much you actually assign to each thing, isn't it? So
Yes.
you'd be working there with the idea that the eyes and the front of the face are worth a lot more than the ears and the...
Yeah, it's a little bit more like that.
Yeah.
It's a little bit guess.
So can we just go back a step, because we've got a whole lot of information going on here. So just to really, really clarify what the colours mean and what the numbers mean.
Well, in this case, everything is how to sum it up. The numbers basically tells you the resolution of that particular island you are working with. The island is the model UNRWA that you are using.
Yep.
In this case, the head has one island,
Yep.
and at the bottom there is one other island.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do is assigning this texture to my current material, as we can see here. I'm just assigning all the time these textures, so I can see the resolution. I mean, how much space that's the model takes into the UV,
Mm-hmm.
in the global
Okay.
UV space.
So those big numbers, well, essentially the numbers on the face are basically telling you what the resolution of the texture on the face is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you should have better resolution on the face than you would have on the knees, for example, because in the game we're going to spend a lot more time looking at the face
Oh, I guess you
than the
might.
knees.
Yeah. So what about the colours?
The colors is it is not necessary. I mean, in this case, it doesn't. I don't use it for anything. You can make the same process with just a checker texture, you know, the checker, blacks and whites. So you can use that, and that's it.
So what is it actually showing? I appreciate that you don't need it, but what is it actually
Is it the
denoting?
same thing as the numbers, or is it just identifying
well,
the blue island, the red island?
Yes, for me the numbers and everything for that we can see in here is just to know exactly how the island is placed in the UV layout. I mean, for example, if you see the numbers straight, like this one, you can see 7, 8, 8, 9. You know that in the UV island, that map, the model is unwrapped, just facing to you exactly how it's looking in. As you can see, there are pieces that are rotated, the front
Yeah.
and the rear in different rotations. So the numbers or whatever thing that it's displayed tells me the rotation of the UV.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I can see that I can perfectly see that it's
Because you're trying to fit it into a square, right? Because
Yes.
it's usually
yes.
it's 2000 by 2000. It's, you know,
I'm rotating this one
Yeah.
because I'm seeing that it will be better for me for texturing, for example, or whatever, or just trying to fit the model into the UV space and then start like in retopology. It's a little bit like a puzzle game again. So you are just trying to put the pieces all together and just put everything in a single layout or single material. I'm using X normal again here, but
Sorry, X normal. What's
yeah,
X normal?
X normal
used
it is the software I use for projecting the normal maps.
for? Okay.
So the thing here is that, well, at the moment I am doing the same. I'm preparing the same for the pans.
Mm-hmm.
So we can see the numbers and letters. But it doesn't matter. Like if you see a tree, it's fine. So, or something that it's not relevant. It's just for you to know exactly how it's facing the UV.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm just putting all the pieces and trying to figure out how.
So what's the optimal way to put all these pieces together?
That's a little bit a guess game.
Yeah.
So
what are you guessing at? What's your end goal?
what I try is visualize, and when I start texturing after this process, I try to visualize exactly how the texture will be handled in the next stage, and then I just start working with the UV islands with that thought in my mind.
Okay. So placing those islands like that, what have you got in mind? What does that affect later on down the line?
For example, we have one of the texturing cross-tie Joe, the pans. He has some straight lines painted. So it's very important that all the UVs are straight, completely facing to me, the island. So I can just, in substance, I can just project a pattern, and then the pattern will be correctly projected with not too much effort or tweaks.
Totally makes sense. Okay, cool. Thank you.
And yes, here maybe because I forgot to unwrap this model, so I'm making the UVs for this part of the shoe.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah, this yes, I just forgot it. So just realized when I was doing the layout, and then rapidly I just put it on 3D code and make a UV unwrap, and I will save it and go back to the initial idea. Yeah, now it's saved. Now I will change and we'll put the new one so we can see the UVs and delete the materials that are not needed.
You're being weird with your phone there.
Yeah, I'm trying to actually see the chat thing, but once again, the Twitch app is not working very well.
Jinkies.
Yeah. So, because the chat's a little bit far away from me over there, back towards the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay. Us sharper-eyed younger folks can read it.
So yeah.
That was, yeah, I just ignored that.
Yeah.
So I'm keep working on the remaining pieces to have, because the goal for this character was having 2 materials or 2 texture sets. One UV01 is for the head and the arms,
Yeah.
and UV02 is for the rest of the body, like the clothes and shoes. So this is UV2, second UV map that just cover the clothes.
Okay.
Basically, the suspenders included and the shoes.
So we could have got away with 1, but we can actually put more detail in if we've got 2. Is that?
Yes, because for me, I like to split. Normally, I work with 2 texture maps, head, organic parts, or fabric later, and just split in 2. King Leon was the exception. He is a full 4K map, much bigger. It's 4 times bigger. Oh no, 2 times, because this is 2K maps. But yeah, I tend to use a couple of 2K maps for common zombies and a big 4K map for bosses. In this case, King Leon. But Manfred was like this one, so he didn't have 4K. I don't usually work with 4K until now. Now I'm working more with 4K, and this is just spacing a little bit the UVs, and just one of the rules in this stage is trying to review, how to say, take advantage of all the space and everything that can be in different spots, but occupying all the space. That's a good UV layout. Because anyway, if you don't try to organize like this way, Unreal or Unity will use the same space regardless that you have or not islands in there. So it's better to have everything in its own space.
So we don't actually cross any UVs.
No.
Yeah.
No, they have.
I've seen people that do, especially in environmental stuff. So if you've got a screw, for example, that's going to be in every panel on the bench, then the UVs are set up in such a way that they all make use of the same screw texture in the
Yes,
in
we
the
have
texture.
this example. As you can see, half of the body. You can see only 1 shoe and 1 arm. That's because after the process I will duplicate it.
Yep.
This is the same example that you said.
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting for the UV layout, finish everything that I like, and then duplicate the piece, and I have overlapping UVs because it's the same piece. It's not. Yes, it's overlapping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's
and that requires some care, actually overlapping the.
Yes,
UVs.
for the ambient occlusion map, mostly, because that one really needs that you have separate pieces of geometry. I mean the UVs. So
Yep.
yes, I'm now just playing with.
Trying to get it all into a nice, neat square.
Yes, it's the puzzle stage now.
Yeah.
So everything put in order. This is UV2. Yes, the clothes, fabric, suspenders. These are the suspenders.
He's awfully styly like that.
Hmm?
He's awfully styly.
Yeah. Yes, it's. I don't know. I don't like. And that's the shoe, and that's the pan. That's part of the pan, part of the. This.
The back part of the vest,
Yeah.
and that's
Thank
the front
you.
part.
Thank
Yep.
you. Yeah, that's it. And as you can see, the pans, I try to make them straight in that area. So that's because of what I said about the patterns in texture.
Yep.
Yep.
That helps me a lot. It's what I made for King Leon as well. I think I will reproject because that part of this is UV1, that it's the face and the arms, ear, and eye. But the eye will be reprojected again because I don't like that shape. So I will make the UVs. As you can see, all those materials are the materials that the current model has.
Mm-hmm.
I am reducing that number to 2 instead of having 9 or 10 that there are. These are lots of materials for a single character. So my goal is reducing that number of materials.
Mm-hmm.
So now the eye is getting reprojected, I think, at the moment.
Okay.
I'm just making a new material. Yes, I'm making a new material for the eye.
Did you ever get to this when we're doing the modelling? Did you ever get to the point of doing UV mapping?
Yep. I think I did that first of all when Stickmen Studios was in Hereford Street.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I actually started here and then worked back.
Okay.
Here you can see the eye. I didn't like the original island, so I changed for this one that I like much better because I have the center just in the center. So the other one was confusing, and this is useful for texturing as well.
Yeah.
So this is an island.
What?
Oh, yeah,
Oh yeah.
I got that one.
Thank you. Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah.
So yeah, the point about cross-eyed Joe is he is cross-eyed, so we have to
Yes.
make that happen.
Yeah, that will be when I finish with his texture.
Mm-hmm.
I will just reposition his eye, his other eye.
Mm.
One of them is correct. Well, I just finish with the eye. I just replace the old one by this. And
So we can see there that eye is taking up quite a lot of space in the texture map.
yes, and it's not really necessary for this case. So because I realized that cross-eyed Joe only has a small pupil, or
Yes, so not much detail in the eye.
yes, but well, I just took advantage of that and I started to make some veins and things like that. So
Hmm.
it looks nice now.
Excellent.
And yeah, just
It's a nice
repeating.
veiny eye.
Yeah, and
In fact, I did some
Radiance.
veiny eyes at Stickmen
Did you?
years ago. Yep, that was what I was working on.
Oh, very good.
Sitting next to Cam. Might it have been?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Veiny eyes was my thing.
That's right. How fun was that? You're a musician and you got to do some UVs and texturing of
On eyeballs.
eyeballs.
Pretty fun.
it's a patience work. All the UVs and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
Yes, this I think I will combine the model at this stage. This is the first UV layout. What I do here, this is a. Let me see. If this is the step I'm talking because I'm not sure. Let's see. Yeah, I'm centering pivots in all the models.
You're centering what?
Pivots. Pivot?
Oh, pivots. Yep.
Pivots. Yeah.
Centering the pivots.
Pivot.
Okay.
So yes, I'm making some new folders because I will. Okay, the next phase is basically what I do is exporting each individual new model that I will use to reproject. That I will use to reproject for the final one and have the final layout complete.
Okay.
So yeah, I am saving triangulating because I need the mesh triangulated for X normal. I'm just adding the new how to say, for the head, the new model, and I am adding the old model as well, both of them, because I will use a similar technique as I made for the normal maps. But instead of making the normal maps, what I'm doing here is projecting the old ones. Normal maps to the new layout of the new model.
Okay.
As we will see it in a moment when I'm just putting everything in order. This is the head, and now when I generate the map, what is the 3D viewer? So
Actually,
I
the
can
one thing
play
about
it.
modeling in general is you do end up with a lot of files
Yes,
you're actually
it's
working with.
lots.
So keeping your folders and files tidy is
Now.
ongoing issue.
Now we have the new layout with the normal maps as we had earlier, with no reprojecting, just transferring maps. This is the process I'm doing now. I'm transferring maps from the old ones to the new layout.
So why is it called a normal map? Like specifically, why the word normal?
The normal because comes from the vertex normal and the face normals. This is something that the geometry has. When you have a geometry, you have faces, you have vertex, you have edges, and these are concepts that are used to know exactly how reflections and how different things behave depending on the light bounces. So you use vertex normal information or face normal information, and then this is the name that they gave you.
Very good.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mathematical term, really.
Yes,
So
yes.
that normal is the thing that's usually at right angles, or you define the ray that's right angles to a face as the normal.
You use the RGB values as reference to make those mathematical concepts. So yes, this is now the same process. I'm constantly transferring maps from one model to another model. This is very similar, in fact, to the normal mapping I made in the other one, but again, we are optimizing here from 10 materials to just 2 materials. So I need to reproject everything to the materials. So you can see the ear. Again, I will inflate it because I need to make the same steps, but
Oh, he's pretty.
yeah.
He's a handsome, handsome man.
Nice,
He's got the matching eyeballs and teeth.
nice blue eyes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Lovely eyes. I love how they match with the teeth. The green gums also
Green
very
gums.
attractive.
Yeah. Now it's yellow in texturing.
Yeah. I saw that the other day over your shoulder. I was like, oh yeah.
So yeah, there was a mistake in the other one, so I just changed the ear. It was in the other position, so I had to put this one to the right. So now I reproject it. Now it's occupying the space in the new texture map. So I'm just changing the RGB values in Maya and refreshing the viewport. This is an issue from Maya 2017 anyway.
Okay.
And now with the teeth, I don't know if here is the optimization. Okay. Nah. Okay, I make the same. I just triangulate, send the final model with the new UVs. I just load the old model that is occupying all his space, and I will just load that model and project, transferring the normal map from one to the other. So yes, there is loads of things going on, and I don't know what did I do here.
Don't fade off. The microphone can't hear you.
Yeah, no, yeah, just thinking by myself. Okay, I just made the fast UVs for the teeth again because there were some overlapping UVs and ugly UVs. I don't know why. Maybe I just screw up something while doing this. So I just reproject everything really fast with automatic mapping in Maya. So I just saved the result, and I could use this one for the reproject and the transfer maps from one to the other. And now I have it, and I am just adding.
I don't know if you agree with this, but I was once told that if you've got the space in the map, it's probably best not to overlap the UVs.
Yeah, sure.
So just
Always.
duplicate. Yep.
Always, yeah.
So basically, don't cross the streams, guys.
Because that's what I said. Unreal or Unity will make use of that texture map. Whatever you are filling with island or not, they will use it. So because of that, you have more things to put in there.
Okay.
So yes, lots of TGAs. I love working with TGAs, targets.
Why is that? Why do they use targets, in fact, for representing the textures?
I began using TIFF a long time ago, but I always had problems with Maya and small things. I always had warnings and things like that using the tools I usually use. So I end up using TGA because it's one of the more widespread formats in the industry. Just not in video games, in CGI, in movies. It's a very common it's a very good format, and it works pretty well for everything. And Photoshop handles the transparency using a mask directly in Photoshop, so you don't have to guess where the transparency is, like in PNGs.
Okay.
So for me, Targa, it's for this kind of work, for me, it's perfect. But I use PNGs for the new pipeline in the hair. I'm using PNGs because of I need to duplicate lots of things, and I prefer to have the transparency embedded inside the PNG,
So you can see
instead
what's
of the
transparent.
mask
Yeah.
that is a little bit cumbersome. So yes, they have different uses, different formats. It depends of everything ends up depending on your workflow and the person. So most of the time, there's always a solution for everything, or maybe another workaround. That it's not better; it's just different, and people can use.
I'm looking forward to people seeing the hair on Cross-Eyed Joe, because I've seen it from behind and it looks really cool. From behind you, rather. So I've had a look. Yeah,
What?
his hair from behind.
You've
Well,
seen his hair
seen his hair
behind
from
you?
behind as well. But I've
So.
actually seen his hair coming when I've been behind you. I've actually seen over your shoulder that the hair
Okay,
on
that
him.
was good to clarify.
Yeah. Quick and strategic withdrawal from. But yeah, the so the hair looked really good. It's sort of lank and stuck to his skull, and it's got that. It's really got that corpse sense to it.
Yes, and I add some blood and stains and things like that make look like a very bad hair. So
Very bad
very
head,
bad
eh?
So yes, well, lots of transferring maps now for just a small piece of bone. So I'm transferring the maps here and changing the texture and for the new one. Yeah, that's the new one. I'm changing the RGB and updating the viewport. There it is. So all this work is just for UV1. That's the map.
Yeah.
Over there. This is UV1. When I finish all this, what I do is combining the pieces, but not at the moment, or maybe I did it. Yes, maybe no. It's the end of the stage when you have everything, you can combine it, and the final FBX retains the information of where is every material and what mesh is affecting each material. So yeah, nothing important. This is combined now, but I'm just separated again because it's not really needed in this stage to combine it. It's at the end of all this process. So now I'm starting with UV2. It's the same process now like UV1. I'm just saving the final result as a new mesh, and in Xnormal I will load the old mesh and the new one and transfer the maps from one to the other. That's the process.
Okay.
So now I'm triangulating because that's a requirement for Xnormal, and that's how in the game will be seen, because as you know, in games we see triangles, not quads. So
Yeah.
we have to work with triangles as the final model. Not in production, because that will be a nightmare. Working with triangles would be completely nightmare. So yes, more folders, more organization. I have OCD with this. I need to have everything in order because it's
OCD's good.
massive. If you just surf in my folders and just take a look at everything what I have, you really realize that needs some kind of organization, because that's very, 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 very long. So that's what I do. I try to have everything that I can find it later.
That's a good idea.
Yes.
Yeah, strongly approve.
Yes.
So there we can see all our quads divided into triangles
Yes.
on that.
Yes, because Xnormal requires that for the low poly version, or in this case, the target version from the transfer maps that we are doing here. So now everything is projected. Now it's transferring the maps. Now we have the new layout with the old normals inside the new layout, UV layout. It's a little bit messy everything, but trying to explain as best as I can.
But there we can see the effect of the normals is to actually put those wrinkles in the
Yes.
in the shirt there.
Yes.
So you've got the wrinkles, the button, the center line.
We can see that we have the normal information again in the geometry, but with the new UVs.
Yeah.
So the transfer will work fine. So we can see that we make the same for the pants and the shoes. I think there is one part of the shoes that needs to be.
I suppose if there's any explanation to be had for why we like working in polys when we're doing the modelling and triangles for other things is polys have a lot of flexibility, right? You can change the shape of the poly, so when modelling and stretching and moving stuff, that becomes easy. Triangles are sort of fixed. You can't actually move them because they've only got 3 points.
Well, you can move it, but it's like a messy, it's a messy thing to move that. Because the good thing about quads is that you can take faces, you can extrude the faces, and everything follows a path. But with triangles, if you extrude, everything is messed completely because of the edges and everything. It will be very difficult to model anything with triangles directly. That's the reason humans model with quads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the GPU, I mean the graphics card, is actually ultimately going to work with triangles. So each of those quads has to be divided into a triangle.
Yes. That's the thing where I am triangulating the mesh, because it's normal.
2 triangles.
Huh?
Sorry, I just said divided into a triangle, but I meant divided into 2 triangles. Carry on.
Yeah, that's the reason I make this part of the process with triangles, because that's what I said. It's for transferring maps, XNormal requires this step to triangulate the mesh and avoid n-gons. N-gons are polygons with more than 4 faces. I have faces and vertex.
Yeah.
So these are the worst, really. Triangles are not a problem. In certain ways they are not a problem, but n-gons are prohibited completely.
Yeah.
Because they are anti-mathematical or something like that. That's too
Yeah.
technical.
Well, you certainly can't divide one of those into 2 triangles, because you'd end up with if it was 5 points, you'd end up with 1 point left over. So
yeah, it's like it's not.
if
it's
you
not
had 5
good.
points, it would have to become 3 triangles ultimately.
Yes, and normals behave pretty bad with n-gons. So this is another result. Pans in this case, reprojected straight for me for texturing, be able to put the texture completely straight and the lines and everything. So
What do you think happened at his knee there, that he just tore one knee? He's fairly neatly dressed for the most part, but he's got a blowout in one knee.
What do you mean?
On the pants. He's
yeah.
got one hole of one knee.
Yes, it's like.
Do you think that was the boniest knee and it just sort of tore through?
One drunken evening, little stumble, nice pair of pants ruined. You know how it is.
Yeah, he has broken fabric in that part. In the original concept, there is broken pieces of fabric, and you can see the flesh. I think it is because it's more fleshy, this character.
Okay.
So
I was just wondering at that backstory, just
no,
how he came to tear his pants.
Night on the town.
He's in a cave, so there are rocks.
Yeah, true. Scrambling over some sharp
Or maybe
rock or something.
just arguing with the skeleton soldier. Could be.
A little bit of sword play when he wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, training day.
Take that to your fleshy knee. Go on.
Oh, oops.
So yeah, the same. Inflating and transferring maps. There's something I made wrong, so I just taking again the geometry. Yeah, there it is. For the shoes is the same that happened with the ear, so it's in the other side. I had to duplicate the shoe and put it in the other side because that's the one that I need, not that side, but that. So yes, I will triangulate. And
So why was it better to have it on one side than the other?
that doesn't
the
matter.
original?
That's because originally the high resolution mesh, the sculpt was in the other side.
Ah, right, okay.
So yeah, I just forgot about that. So I just have to reposition the thing. And
Ah, right, because you need it to match up, because you're going to take the normals off the high resolution
need to
mesh and apply it to.
for the cage and inflating and all that stuff. Yeah. So now it's okay. It's correct. So everything is right, and that's the show. looks like a spaceship.
Yeah.
But no, it's a shoe. So yes, the RGB, correcting RGB and viewport.
Very
So
good. Some
that's-
nice lines there showing up on the shoe now that we've got
Yes,
some.
I love that from the concept. That kind of shoe. I never saw.
With the
I shoe like
spats
that.
on, isn't it? He's got, I think. Is that right? That's the one with white spats over the dark shoe, or is it?
Yes, it has some buttons as well.
Yeah.
So here
Classy.
what I do is just starting to make some because this is a very low poly in certain aspect. So I just making something that you people don't do at home, but it's like the small vertex, put it on just because of the eyeball, that you can see only the eyeball and not any kind of hole or gap.
Yeah, you don't want to see into his head, basically.
Yes.
And there was a little gap there where you could see into his head.
Yes, because reasons, I don't know.
But this is not generally the stage where you'd make that change, is it?
No.
But you're good at this stuff, so you can.
Yeah, there's no
don't
problem.
try this at home, kids.
Exactly.
You will hurt yourself.
Don't try this
Yeah.
at home on your kids.
You're kidding. Because I try to see exactly if there is any issue with the normal map while I'm doing this thing.
Mhm.
So this is very important, and I saw that everything was fine. It should not be a problem to make this, so it's completely normal to have some gaps and just trying to I don't know, fixing these small things.
Yep.
So yes, this is what I'm doing. There is another one, I think, for the.
That's one of the things.
It's like remodeling parts, but just in a very small scale.
Yeah, if you were very concerned about this, if it was one of your OCD things, having gaps in the models, you could, in fact, in the game's engine, put a light in his head and see where the light spills out. If he's got rays coming out of his eyeballs.
That works for some people as well, I'm quite sure. In fact, some people, that's all they have in their head.
Just a light,
Just a light.
Just the
one lonely bulb.
Yep, gaps everywhere.
gaps. Yeah, I hate gaps.
Yeah.
So yes, I made the same in the shirt. And now duplicate the hand. But there is
Uh-oh.
a small thing in the.
Yeah, just an arm bone, nothing to worry about.
Nah, it doesn't.
The arm bone sticking out of the shirt, that's the issue.
The arm bone is
Easy
connected
fix.
to the shirt bone.
All done.
Easy fix. So yeah. And there
Oh,
is-
and then we take his legs off.
yeah, I just separate the void from the shirt.
It's always a bit shocking at that point to realise they are completely hollow. They look so detailed and beautiful on you. But of course nobody modelled the insides.
No.
You may well be hollow yourself.
That would be a nightmare to
I
me.
don't know if you've ever checked.
Well, I told you about Darren's things where he actually had... so if he didn't actually model the inside of the model, but he had a shader that matched up with a human... like Lincoln's got on his desk, one of those muscular
Yeah.
things and all the rest of it. And he was using that shader to sort of map those muscles and bones and guts and all the rest of it
Yes.
onto the thing. So if you blew an arm off, you could actually see the bits of rib and the bits of thing that
Yeah.
were actually affected. Or,
Yeah, to fake a little bit the thing. Yeah. It
Yeah.
works. Yeah.
so very good for
Mm-hmm.
strategic for localized damage. And
Yeah.
blow a hole in him, and you could see,
Yeah, exactly. That.
everything you would see on the way through. But I have no idea how long it took him to make it. But it was an awesome demonstration he gave.
Yeah.
Darren, you should be watching the stream, by the way. You're getting mentions here. I suppose it's not much point telling him on the stream. if
Probably
he's
not.
Here.
He
No.
probably should be at work.
Sorry
If he-
about that, Darren. Don't pay no attention. You're not here. Have we seen anybody enter yet? I haven't seen the usual guys actually jump in.
No, I haven't seen anybody.
No, we're having a very quiet day.
This is too technical stuff, maybe.
I don't know
People
about that. I
boring.
think people find this stuff interesting.
Yeah.
Certainly, this is the stuff I find interesting. Programming,
Uh,
I would probably find tedious to watch somebody just program on a thing, but I think blueprints will probably make that more interesting.
Yeah, more
And
visual.
narcissism being what it is, if you like it, then everybody must love it, right?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Huh.
I made this universe. This is the universe in my head.
Never forget, you may well be hollow inside.
I'm just saving as another, because when I'm working with a character, I have different saves, scenes, so that I can separate the process I'm doing. So I have to go back just easy,
Okay.
and that's what I made here. I just made a new save, and I'm just I'm just filling the holes, holding the fills.
Following the fields, yeah, man.
Yes, you don't want that. So,
Or following the hills.
so this is the reason we've got this quick upskirt here of this guy, is so that we can fill the holes in his pants.
Yeah, if not, there will be like, nothing. If he dies, you can see transparency, so that's bad because of the normals.
Yeah. In fact, that's true, isn't it? If you're looking inside his pants would disappear because the normals are facing outwards.
Yeah,
So from inside his pants, they'd be invisible.
exactly.
Well, see, again, this may well be the same for you.
True. But we know this from actually using VR cameras. We can place a VR camera inside the head of a creature and you can't really see the head because all the normals facing outwards. Not quite so around the nose. There are difficulties there.
Yeah, no, but I don't know too much.
Surgery may yet be the biggest scam out there.
Because the insides
There's nothing there.
Yeah,
Okay.
and more
Did I tell you that thing about the Flat Earth Society? I did, didn't
Yeah, you did.
and
They're all around the globe.
I? Yes. Flat Earth organisations all around the globe.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Just a great expression. I loved it. So what are we doing now to his boots?
We're fixing more like similar to the eyes because we have low geometry. As you
Okay.
can see, all the faceted things.
Okay.
So this is very rounded, so it's normal to just lose, some space between both shapes.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm doing is just pushing vertex inside, so I can just fill the gaps or gapping the fills.
Yes.
Dipping the faps.
My mind is melting.
Don't worry. There's
Ah.
nothing inside it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I love you too.
Feel better?
Much better.
Oh yeah, I know, right?
That made me react.
Yeah. Well, good.
Okay. Oh, there's some holes in his shirt. Was that right?
No, that's the normal.
Or was that just a normal map?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the normal.
I was going to say I hadn't noticed holes in his shirt before, other than the one at the top,
Yeah, it's just
the tear down from the neck or whatever it
the
is.
beautiful lights from Maya viewpoint. That's irony.
Ah,
Yes. Now I think that it's that I just left. Maybe.
okay.
Yeah. Photoshop. Hello.
I'm going to say, how much can we see of his fly? One of the things.
Why do you care?
Because there is an interesting point here that in 1836 they only had button flies.
Butterfly.
Button flies. They didn't have zippers.
Ah. Okay.
I'm imagining insects,
Yeah. Oof.
buttons, button flies.
Button flies. That's
Mhm.
good
Right.
for me.
That's a creature
Yeah.
for another game.
Yeah. We could.
Mm-hmm.
Lincoln.
Yeah. Get him right on it.
Cool. I saw you adjusting the light there for a minute. Was it?
Yes, just to see how normal maps reacting with the new UV layout and everything
Okay.
looks fine. So in this moment we only have two materials, I suppose. So it's time to combine things and prepare the ID map. Maya just crashed.
Just crashed. Yeah.
It's the
Perfect.
typical.
This doesn't happen very often.
I really
Once,
love-
twice a day.
I really love the software, but this is something common since the early millennium, since the beginning of the millennium.
Okay.
So it just happens always. So yeah, we open.
So you want to save a lot if you're doing complicated stuff in Maya.
Yes,
Or does it
always.
auto save? That would be nice.
Control S. It's something automatic. Control S. Control S. Control S.
Yeah, but does it auto save when it crashes?
It makes a backup in temporal files in Brook's folder because that's what it says. The machine Brook's folder.
Well, that's nice.
Temporal.
Oh, okay. You must have my old machine.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, when I say my old machine, it was a new machine, but
No,
I got shuffled off that desk.
I
so
meant,
something-
sentimentally.
See, there's a boundary. Something. A bound. So yes, this is the beginning of the ID maps. What I do, I will explain what it's ID. ID maps are some kind of map. Well, it's a map, in fact. That what we do here is we add solid color to the different islands that we have in the UV layout. So what is this for? This is for texturing stage, because this is a very handy way to just in Substance select. It's like a mask. So I just select the face and I can apply my materials just affecting the face with no need about hiding anything and doing anything. It's just straight and work with groups inside Substance. So we have the ear UVs here. What I do is create a new layer in Photoshop and I fill with a solid color, and then I will just drag and drop in the original UV layout that we made before, and the same for all the pieces. This is a very repetitive process. So yeah, but this is a very, very useful map for texturing because it's like masking everything. So I can decide what parts can be worked together. For example, head and the ear. We will see this maybe, but the ear, I change the color to the same color of the head because I can work with the same tone, with the same material for the skin and everything. But for other parts that have different materials, I just put different solid colors. And then inside Substance, I say, hey, this is one material, this is another material, this is another thing. So I can just separate my layers inside Substance and work in a very well organized way. Because in Substance, you can easily have King Leon, I think he has like 50 layers inside Substance of texture.
Wow.
So more or less, I was thinking that in any moment could crash Substance because of that, because that's the first time that I push a lot and 4K resolution as well. So, but no, it handled pretty well. It's an amazing program. Photoshop, I don't think Photoshop is able to make something like this, but Substance made it, and I was able to work very fluent with that kind of resolution and 50 or 40, 50 or 60 layers of different things. So yeah, this is one of the, we call it utility map. This is a utility map.
Okay.
Utility maps are those maps that you use internally for making other things, like final maps, like for example the base color or the metallic maps or things like that, the Unreal or Unity handles. We use this kind of maps for just use them as helpers to achieve our objective. So that's what it is. ID map is one of them. One of the there is other applications. I don't remember which one that instead of ID map is how Substance called to this map. There is another one that called clone map.
Clone map, okay.
Like a clown.
Oh,
Clown map.
Yeah, it's called because of the solid colors and how it looks. It's like a clown.
Cool.
I can't remember which one is, but yeah, there is one that names this as a clown map. Ah, yeah, Keyshot. Keyshot is the one who says that. Yeah, clown map.
So I'm anxiously watching to see what happens now with these things.
Yeah, it's just making the ID map, and the final map is saving the PSD and saving a PNG or TGA for Substance that will be used in texture stage, not in this. Just putting aside.
Okay, so we'll have to wait till the next episode texturing to.
Well, I have to talk about that.
Sergi has a thing about working on camera.
No, it's because of the hair, the research I made. So
Actually, I really want to show off the hair being made.
Sergi, not so much.
Numerous mistakes, lots of time lost, all this sort of stuff.
no, it's just researching and optimizing my pipeline as best as possible, and that's boring.
Oh, you can cut some stuff out.
No, there is no anything recorded.
So he did cut some stuff out.
Please
just,
record,
Just
'cause
100%
everything
ruthlessly.
is cut.
I was looking forward to actually seeing the
Yeah,
hair
yeah.
done, because I found that whole process fascinating.
Look, pink. Pink is beautiful
Pink.
color. This is the texture. This is the final
Change
texture.
the subject.
I know, right? He's good like that. Oh, look at that shiny thing.
It was beautiful. It's pink color.
Yeah, and Brook went right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the process is the same for everything.
It's a bit girly for him though, isn't it? That beautiful pink singlet.
For Cross-Eyed Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Just a bit camp.
That will be the final texture for me. It's fine. Look, texture. Done. Linda reading. And yeah, that's. I think there is a stupid thing here. Okay.
He's getting ready for a lovely night out.
The what?
He's getting ready for a lovely night out.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing?
Nothing.
what were you putting on your notes layer there, Sergi?
Okay, moving on.
Oh, bless.
Some things get recorded, we don't intend.
But just. It was talking to me saying, draw me a face. Please.
It was lovely that you obliged.
Right, so this is our shoe we're looking at there, isn't it?
Yes, the unwrapped shoe. So, there it is.
I can't make that noise, doesn't matter how hard I try. But I can whistle with two fingers, I discovered on the weekend.
Can you?
I really can. But no. Fuck, you're an idiot.
To explain. Oh, that. All right.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that peeked out the mic.
You're welcome.
We just lost all our viewers.
That's right, your hearing will come back.
Another map. And safe. This is PSD. I think it's have all the
All I can see is the face now.
yeah. I was seeing it all the time. So.
Yeah. Began to take on personality, didn't it, Sergi? I bet you had some conversations. Hey.
Yeah, but at night.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet you had a lot to talk about.
I asked him to if he has a limp or something that I can take.
See, back a bit, those two little scrapes in the top of that's in the normal map.
Yeah.
That when you see little patterns like that, it always reminds me of having kids and trying to keep ice cream in your fridge. Because sooner or later you'll come in and there'll be two gouge marks from fingers in the ice cream.
I never did that.
You didn't do that?
No.
Really?
Who the fuck eats ice cream with their fingers?
Kids.
No.
Kids sneak into the fridge and gouge a bit of ice cream out with their
Why
fingers.
would you not use a spoon like a normal human being?
Because they don't want to be seen, so there's not too much preparation and planning that goes into it.
That's just silly.
Well, just for the record, I'm using now the ID maps for masking the normal maps
All right,
and
that was what I
combining
meant.
everything in a single texture. Because now it's still separated. So I'm just putting everything
Okay.
in its place using the ID map, but the ID map is used in Substance as well.
Look at all that detail around the face. I love that.
Yeah.
That would scare the bejesus out if you saw that in your ice cream.
Yeah. I think that'll go straight to Facebook and viral.
Yeah. I just fill the background with the original colors from the normal map, and a new folder called the new layout. Yeah. So I think it's trying to combine everything. Why not run? So I take all the pieces and combine, and I just direct history and rename it. And yeah, there are lots of materials. Now we will see how that will start to decrease.
Mm-hmm.
So this is UV1, as less materials now. And now I'll take the texture from the normal map, the last one, the combine.
What's that we're looking at there? What's that tool?
That's the hypershade from my.
Ah, right.
The office next door appears to have gone cowboy.
I did hear them out in the corridor weeping and
It was odd.
running. Yeah.
I can see the final map, everything combined, everything just using one material and the same result as the beginning. So, but everything in just one material. And save the PSD, the original one, just in case I have to make any change.
Okay.
It's a very streamlined pipeline, so it's something that you follow step by step. And
With taking the occasional side trip to fix up some geometry and stuff.
so the same for the other one. I will mask everything, and yeah, let's take one of them. So hide what I don't want. Yeah, this is for UV2 because UV1 is complete.
Mhm.
So now it's time for UV2. UV2 is fabric and such. So I'm just
Yes, the
making the
suspenders
same.
on the back of the shirt.
Yeah,
No, it's the front of the shirt, isn't it? Because I can see
yeah.
the
The back,
buttons.
the
yeah.
back is the right.
Back's on the other side. Yeah.
So yeah, we have now. We can see the pants as well. So I think it is another piece will show. Yeah, there it is. So I'm using the ID map to mask this piece and just take what I really need and put it in there.
Okay. Do you reckon that's running at normal speed, or is that still speeded up?
Did you meet the cowboys out there?
This is speed it up, I think.
Cowboys.
'Cause
You
the
not hear the
last-
cowboys?
The last 5 minutes of the movie
Mm-hmm.
were playing at real time rather than double speed, just because for some reason when I got your footage, I couldn't double speed that.
Oh.
So,
Oh well.
but
Okay.
are we pretty much at the end of the process? Do you think? Have we-
Yes, yeah, sure. I don't think there's.
Is there anything else
much
to
more.
show, or we?
Well, there is just the step about everything that it's combined in a single model, so that's the only thing remaining. So it's not very spectacular.
I was thinking, I was getting all wound up when you were talking about it. I was like, really?
Yeah.
Hate to miss that. And it's
You,
like,
you
oh.
can wait for seeing it. I know that.
Well, now I feel a little let down.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah.
Right. How do we actually speed up VLC here to make that work?
I don't know if you can speed VLC. Yes, you can. Can't remember how. But
No
yes, you can.
fucking idea.
As we did it previously. Was it the arrow keys?
Yeah, no. Yeah, yes. It's these keys. The
Okay.
I think
Well, I think you just slowed it down.
Oh,
with that
no.
one.
2 or 3 or.
There we go.
Oh,
This is 2 times now.
So we've speeded it up because we're actually reaching the end of our segment. It's 1:59, so
I can just
in
make
New
it
Zealand
faster.
time. So
Or a little bit more faster.
excellent. All right.
So yes, now just cleaning up everything, and that's it. It's changing for
I
UV2.
think I'm going to have to wait for that till
Yeah.
next thing. All right. Okay. So thank you everybody for looking in today. So this is Brook and Margaret and Sergi, and today we were looking at the UVs of Cross-Eyed Joe. So basically putting together the UV maps. For Cross-Eyed Joe, one of our zombie characters in our zombie survival game After the Light, which we are streaming daily here at Twitch, or at least on weekdays. We'll catch up with you again tomorrow at 1 o'clock or 1 p.m. New Zealand time, where we will be talking about something else, and I don't care to guess what because it tends to change from day to day. So no matter what I guess, it tends to be something else.
hashtag seat of the pants again.
Indeed. Okay, so we'll see you later, everybody. Catch you tomorrow.